It's known as a silent problem and often a hidden problem. We're talking about domestic violence, which affects 1 in 4 Minnesota women. Experts say isolation and tension with the COVID-19 pandemic have led to a spike in abuse. Isolation is often a reason many immigrants don't seek help when they're abused in this country. A Brooklyn Park women's advocate is trying to change that by helping African immigrant victims get back on their feet. Here's reporter Sonia Goins.
The woman who shows up today is not who I was even 5 years ago.
To look at Comfort Dondo, you wouldn't know the hardships she's endured. Born and raised in Zimbabwe, Dondo moved to Minnesota when she was 17 to attend college.
And I've been living in Minnesota now for the last 17 years.
She was living the American dream. She got married and soon afterwards was expecting a child. But after that, her life changed.
He was saying he was not ready for the baby. And so he started doing things to punish me so that I would have an abortion.
Dondo says her husband at the time mentally and physically abused her.
He would do things like not provide food, because that time I was still in between my immigration status and getting a green card. And sometimes I'll go without food and I didn't have access to transportation. I was isolated.
She dealt with abusive language on a daily basis.
I'll call names, very belittling.
Dondo says the abuse continued even after the birth of her son.
And I was trying to seek out help or counseling, but he got upset when I was bringing those issues and he threw glasses, like martini glasses, at me. And then I was very terrified. I called the police. When they came, they didn't talk to me much. They actually talked to him.
She became homeless for several years, but she didn't let that stop her from continuing college and eventually breaking free of her former husband.
It took me a lot of years of therapy to start to feel beautiful and to start to believing in myself.
She now has a purpose for her pain. In 2016, Dondo founded the nonprofit group Pumolani, which aims to prevent domestic and sexual abuse in communities of color in Minnesota.
We are based in Brooklyn Park. We operate out of Minneapolis as well as St. Paul. In fact, we serve all African immigrants.
Dondo says African immigrant women face extraordinary challenges when it comes to domestic violence.
They also have multifacets of other issues they're dealing with besides just the violence. So they're dealing with past trauma. Most of us have come from war-torn countries, or they're also dealing with their immigration.
The advocate says abusers often use immigration status as a way to control victims.
When an abuser is using immigration status, a woman might be reluctant to calling the police. We historically don't have good relations with police or trusting relationship with police.
Dondo says she plans on working with the Brooklyn Park Police Department to bridge cultural differences and to build trust between African victims and police officers.
We don't care what their immigration status is, and we don't even ask. We're out in the community trying to gain community's trust in calling us, and not only to gain the community's trust in calling us, but to successfully handle their case.
Detective Shane Husaric says domestic violence cases are up this year. He says it might have something to do with the courts not processing cases during the pandemic for over a year.
And over that time, our victims have been victimized multiple times over by the same suspects.
Brooklyn Park Police have 2 domestic abuse advocates in-house. They also have a domestic violence prevention coordinator and a mental health specialist.
We're essentially a one-stop shop.
Meanwhile, Comfort Dondo says she will continue working on herself as she continues to advocate for others.
So much better, but it's not been easy. Yeah, it has not been easy.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
There are many places available to help domestic abuse victims. Minnesota Day One, a statewide program, can assist people experiencing domestic violence. We have a list of domestic violence resources on our web pages as well, ccxmedia.org. City officials in Golden Valley are getting a clearer picture this week of how the city's downtown area could change in the coming years. Golden Valley's Planning Commission is reviewing a concept plan put together by a design consultant. The report details possible improvements to the 4 quadrants that make up the intersection of Golden Valley Road and Winnetka Avenue. Opportunities include attracting a grocery store and pharmacy to the area, improving walking and bicycle access, redeveloping large surface parking lots into retail or housing, and relocating the city's public works buildings outside of the downtown core. One of the area's banking options has changed. Huntington and TCF banks have merged, and the change from TCF to Huntington happened over the weekend. On Monday, all TCF branches reopened as Huntington branches. The banks closed at regular times on Friday and remained closed over the weekend as the transition took place. There are 10 branches in the northwest suburbs, and that includes several branches that operate out of Cubs Foods grocery stores. The merger was approved last December. North Hennepin Community College and Hennepin Technical College are two colleges who are waiving admission fees during the month of October. Hennepin Tech is offering free admission this month as a way to drive student awareness and increase virtual and in-person visits. It also helps graduating high school seniors, especially underrepresented students, with the support needed to apply for college.
We recognize that a $20 application fee isn't necessarily this gigantic cost. However, we serve a large population of underrepresented students, and every little bit helps.
There are 30 colleges and 7 universities celebrating Men's State Week, or College Knowledge Week, and that includes the 2 campuses in Brooklyn Park. Walkers, bikers, and runners along Victory Memorial Parkway noticed the lines were more than a bit off last week. Pictures of wobbly lines flooded social media on Thursday and Friday, and the Minneapolis Park Board recognized the error. On Monday, crews started covering up the blurred lines with black paint. The Park Board said the striping that was completed doesn't meet their standards, and it will be restriped.
The Wayzata and Maple Grove football teams played for the first time in 3 years Friday. Both were ranked in the top 10 this time around. Homecoming and a Hall of Fame induction ceremony celebrated at halftime at Maple Grove football as the Crimson hosted Wayzata. A lot of big defensive plays in this game. The Trojans' Noah Richlick and Dominic Hine combine on a tackle of Tanner Allbeck. Wayzata stops Maple Grove on downs inside the Wayzata 15-yard line. Late second quarter, Ryan Harvey under pressure lets the pass go and finds Drew Birkland for one of his 8 catches. It goes for 28 yards and sets up the Trojans for a late first half score. Andy Vrudny comes on and drills a 32-yard field goal to give Wayzata a 3-0 lead at halftime. Second half, and the Crimson get on the board on this spectacular run by Derek Jamison. The senior running back gets to the sideline and then cuts back to the middle of the field and outruns the defense for an 84-yard touchdown run. His 10th rushing touchdown of the season gives Maple Grove a 7-3 lead. Late third quarter, after a bad snap on a punt by Wayzata set up the Crimson with a short field, they go with a trick play. Jamison takes the pitch. He tosses to Cole Newell, who then finds a wide-open Jacob Kilzer, and the quarterback-turned-receiver for a play makes the catch for a 17-yard touchdown. It's 14-3. The Crimson defense holds Wayzata without a touchdown this night. Jackson Powers intercepts a Harvey pass in the fourth quarter, one of 2 interceptions in the game for Maple Grove. Next offensive series, and in the Wildcat formation, Jamison takes the direct snap. He finds a hole to run through, and he's gone. It's a 50-yard touchdown. Maple Grove does all its scoring in the second half and improves to 5-1 on the season with a 21-3 win. Other than a loss to rival Cooper, the Armstrong football team has played very well this season. The Falcons aimed for their 5th win in 6 games Friday. Jason Mallow has the highlights.
Armstrong football hosting Apple Valley on homecoming night for the Falcons. First quarter, check out the spin move and breakaway speed by Armstrong's Ernest Evans. It's a 47-yard touchdown run, and the Falcons strike quick. The Armstrong defense is locked in early as well. Henry Smith gets the sack for the red team. Second quarter, on 4th down, Jamin Malone throws on the run and hits Marquand Tucker at the 2-yard line. That would set up another Falcons TD. Later in the second, Reggie Carter zips through the hole, gets outside, and he's home on a 20-yard touchdown run. Then with less than 20 seconds in the first half, Malone floats the pass for Caden College, and he brings it down in the end zone. Falcons are up 34-0 at the break. Third quarter, Malone looks left and throws right, and it's a beauty to Peyton Newbern, a 24-yard touchdown connection, and the homecoming crowd is fired up as Armstrong wins 43-rip. Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
The Hopkins football team was shooting for its first win of the season when they took on another winless club Saturday. Jay Wilcox has the highlights.
Saturday morning football is 0-5 Hopkins hosts 0-5 Eagan. Eagan leads 7-0 when Carson Schwamm swings it to Rowan Phillips. Good blocking, and he scores a 13-yard touchdown, and the Wildcats lead Hopkins 14-0 at halftime. Late in the third, Eagan runs the option. Workhorse Landon Tonsager is pushed out at the 2, and he scores one play later to make it 20-0 after 3. Down 27-0, Hopkins gets a big play as Gabe Otmar throws to Isaiah Harris in the flat. A nice blocking wall sets up, and Harris gets into the clear. He wins the foot race and scores an 88-yard TD to get Hopkins on the board. Backup quarterback Cam Fox throws a strike to KO Pierre Toussaint late in the game for the Royals, but it's too little too late as Eagan beats Hopkins 27-14 for their first win. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.